Welcome to the Best of the Best. I'm your host, Nicole, and we have an exciting show today featuring the best of the best in food, fashion, and lifestyle. On today's show, we'll be visited by Chef Tim Spinner from La Calaca Feliz in Philadelphia as he uses Rosa Foods Rita products in his recipe for albondigas. Then, Tina Marie will visit Barsky Diamonds, the jeweler that's been in business for 4 generations, to learn how to choose the perfect diamond. And then we'll be back in the kitchen with Chef Dan Orvis from Urban Enoteca, located at the Latham Hotel in Center City, Philadelphia, who will prepare a delicious appetizer, gnocchi with pecorino cream sauce. All this and more on the Best of the Best. Today, joining us in the kitchen is Chef Tim Spinner from La Calaca Feliz restaurant here in Philadelphia. Also, Len Foti of Rosa Foods. So guys, thank you for joining us today. And
thanks for having us.
Tim's going to be creating some wonderful Mexican-inspired food for us, so why don't you get us started?
Sure. Today we're going to be making albondigas. Albondigas are meatballs, and people are probably saying, meatballs in Mexico, it doesn't make sense. But you know, we can't forget that the Spanish ruled Mexico for hundreds of years. And you know, the Italian influences on the Spanish and the Spanish influences on the Mexicans. So we're going to do a little riff on albondigas, on the meatballs, with a little bit of ancho berry barbecue sauce as well.
Ancho berry barbecue sauce, sounds awesome.
So what we want to do first is, in a hot skillet, we want to get some char on our tomatoes.
Okay.
Plum tomatoes.
You know what? While that oil is splashing, I better cover up this beautiful dress. I got it knit wet with my apron here.
Some onions and a little bit of garlic. In the meantime, we're going to mix our albondigas. We're going to make the meatball mix. We have ground beef, about 3 pounds.
Could you use pork or another meat in this if you wanted to?
You can use, absolutely. I mean, you know, a lot of traditional meatballs, they use the veal, the pork, the ground beef, but we're just going to use a really nice, high-quality ground beef. So 3 eggs, some scallions, chopped parsley, mint, some caramelized onions.
Mint, so that's different.
Yep, yeah, mint is something you actually don't see in your traditional meatball.
No, definitely not.
Or caramelized
It's also
onions.
not, yeah, and it's not something you associate with Mexican food either.
You know, we tend to use a little bit of mint in the Mexican cooking, but you're right. I mean, it's something you don't really think about when you're cooking Mexican food. So we have roast garlic. That's just garlic that we roasted in olive oil in the oven, 300 degrees for
Now
about
milk,
an hour.
now that's something I put in my meatballs.
Absolutely.
My
You know, it
Italian
helps soften
meatballs.
the meat, and
Yeah.
you know, the breadcrumbs are going to bind the meat. We just grab these tongs over here.
Nice char. This is pretty traditional in Mexican cuisine. So a lot of the dishes start with charring the vegetables first.
You're right. A lot of the salsas, a lot of sauces all start with char.
Len is from Rosa Foods, and most people associate that with Italian cuisine. But today we're going to be using products from the Rita line.
Yeah,
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
We have a full line of Hispanic items now with our Rita label. Our Rita label was normally just oil. We have a blended oil that we do food service, so most consumers don't know it in the supermarket.
Right.
So we decided this Latin market is really hitting, it's going. We have the same products with an Italian label. We could probably do peppers and tomatoes, tomato sauce, beans. Let's offer the consumer that Hispanic item. So we decided to go full steam with it, and every few months we keep adding another item. Something different, something unique.
So we just put in the Rita jalapenos and hot sauce?
Yes, the Rita jalapenos and a little bit of the Rita hot sauce. Do you want to mix that?
Sure, I'll get
right.
in. I'll get my hands dirty.
So once all the vegetables have charred for the barbecue sauce,
Do you have breadcrumbs in here?
I do.
Okay.
We're going to throw that right in this pan over here. We're going to add a little bit of molasses.
Nice and rich flavor.
Ketchup. Apple cider vinegar. And that's another Rita product we're using.
Classic flavors in a typical barbecue sauce.
Yep. We have ancho chilies, which are dried poblano peppers. So we're gonna toast those. Now those aren't too spicy. They're, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, they're about a 3. So once they're toasted, we're gonna throw those in with the sauce as well.
Now, do you need to put the breadcrumbs in with the meatballs now?
Let's see how big. Let's add a little, yeah,
Little
definitely
breadcrumb?
a little bit more.
So how many products do you have in the Rita line?
I would say well over 25, and we keep adding new ones. We have the dried beans, the canned beans, pimentos, hot banana peppers, sweet banana peppers, jalapenos, diced, whole,
Quite a few.
sliced. So we have a lot of options.
So we just added some dried cranberries, dried cherries, some raisins as well. Add a little bit more fruitiness to the barbecue sauce.
So you're gonna let those all kind of rehydrate?
Yes. All right, so once the barbecue sauce has been cooking for about 10-15 minutes, we're gonna puree it.
Okay.
And then we're gonna cook it for another hour until all the flavors combine.
Now that's something I've noticed is also popular in Mexican cuisine, to kind of recook the sauce.
Yeah, it's a term we call,
salsa.
you know, a lot of, we refer to it as refrying. Mm-hmm. So,
How's that look?
looks great.
Good?
Looks great.
All right.
So refry, you know, kind of like gives a nice sheen to the sauce, nice finish.
So should I wash my hands again, or are we gonna actually make meatballs now?
We're gonna make meatballs.
All right, so I'll stay dirty. You're kind of frying up the sauce in a
Yep.
way.
Bring that up to a boil. We'll turn it down to a simmer, let it cook for another hour.
Stay tuned for more with Chef Tim Spinner as he puts the finishing touches on his albondigas. We're back with Chef Tim Spinner.
And we're gonna go and mold our meatballs. So right here we have Oaxaca cheese. Oaxaca cheese from the state of Oaxaca
Okay.
in Mexico. Very similar to a mozzarella.
Looks just like mozzarella.
Yeah, nice and, you pull it apart, it's nice and stringy. We're gonna cut it into a few cubes.
So we're gonna stuff the meatballs with the mozzarella?
Yep.
Or I'm sorry, the Oaxaca?
That's exactly what we're gonna do. So you get a little ball, then, you know, kind of turn it into a little patty there. And
How's
then,
that? Good size?
good size, we'll put a little cheese in there. Roll it back up.
So it's a little twist on the
Get in here.
Spanish
Come on, Len, help
style
out.
Italian meatball.
Yep.
I know growing up, my mom uses grated cheese, Romano cheese,
Yep.
mixes it sometimes with Parmesan.
Uh-huh.
The breadcrumbs she puts, and she gets a piece of wet white bread and puts that in as well.
Soaks it in the milk
Yeah,
first?
definitely the egg, have to have the egg. And she's all about the beef. It has to be at least 95% lean because the meatball will just disappear.
Yeah. Why don't you help us make some?
Sure.
So I'm gonna take your meatball, we're gonna skewer them.
Now that's something I've definitely never seen before.
It's just a nice way to eat meatballs. You know,
Yeah.
instead of people are always thinking, you know, meatballs with pasta and sauce and whatnot. You know, we pan sear these and then we finish them in the oven, and you know, it's just nice eating a skewer of meatballs.
Yeah.
After you mold the skewer and you have the meatballs on the skewer, you kind of want to let them set up in the refrigerator
Okay.
for a little bit. I would say at least half hour to 45 minutes.
Kind of help them keep their shape.
Yes. So I'm gonna grab some meatballs out of the
Meatball
fridge.
cheese.
Now, instead of frying it, could you also bake them?
You get absolutely. You
I
can
always
bake
bake
'em.
my meatballs.
Yep. So we'll sear those on each side for about 3 minutes.
Okay.
And then we're gonna finish them in the oven.
So this is more of an appetizer on your menu?
That's an appetizer, yes. You get the 3 skewers of meatballs. And skewers, also brochetas, are one of the more popular items on the menu at Calaca. We skewer octopus, albondigas, swordfish.
Everybody loves meat on a stick.
Definitely,
Right?
yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the restaurant?
So La Calaca Feliz, we opened in January of this year on Fairmont Avenue, right by the Eastern State Penitentiary. All right, so we're ready to throw the albondigas in the oven.
How long do they take to cook in the oven?
About 5 more minutes. While the albondigas are cooking, we'll get the plates ready. Ancho berry barbecue, that's been cooking down. All right, let's grab the meatballs. So we're just gonna hit these meatballs with a little bit of the sauce.
You could really smell the flavors in that
really can.
as soon as it goes on there.
Yeah. So you said they're usually 3, 2 in order.
Just a little bit of parsley, some queso fresco.
Another good Mexican cheese. Let's dig in. Can't wait to try it. All right, I'm gonna get us some beer poured.
All right.
Chef, you did a great job. These look fantastic.
Thank you.
I can't wait to dig in. So guys, cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for being with us today.
You got it, thank you.
Yeah. These are awesome.
Thank you.
It's great flavor. It just it pops.
Nice kick. Get that that kick from the jalapeno and the
But it's not too hot.
yeah,
It's not bland at all.
it's perfect. Yum. Well, Len, Tim, thank you both so much for coming in and being in the kitchen with me. Your Rita products were fantastic,
Thanks.
and
Thank you.
your food never disappoints. So
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Laka Laka Feliz, make sure you check it out. After the break, Tina Marie will talk with the experts at Varsity Diamonds.